All right, here we are again, week number 2. Welcome to Southern Mamas Be Like. My name is Eva Marie Everson, and I am joining my Southern sister. Her name is Jenkins Herlong, and let's bring her in. Come on in, Jane. Good.
I'm sipping on my sweet tea.
Oh, she's got her sweet tea. Well, that's very important. So this week we're going to talk about something else. And we talked about last week how we met each other and our Southern mamas and all that. This week, what I want to talk about is something your Southern mama used to say that you thought, I don't know what that means. But here you are now, you're saying the same thing, So just share one thing, Jane, that your mama used to say that you thought that just doesn't make a hill of beans worth of sense.
It was the craziest thing, Eva Marie, because she was so passionate about it. She'd say, don't you ever forget what I'm going to tell you. And I was like, yeah, here we go. She'd say, a whistling girl and a crowing hen always come to no good end.
All right. A whistling girl and a crowing hen always come to no good end.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that means.
So
I guess it means you're like overconfident. If you're a whistling girl, you're like, oh yeah, I'm all that in a slice of bread. And a crowing hen is eventually going to end up on somebody's kitchen table. I don't know.
That's true. I wonder if a whistling girl or somebody who's nonchalant doesn't care.
Yeah.
A crowing hen, or just because a hen will just crow, maybe warning. I
don't know.
Never understood that one. I'm telling
you.
Probably
her mama said it too.
Yeah.
Okay. So my mama used
good stuff.
My mama used to say every time it rained and the sun was out, she would say, "Oh, look at there, devil's beating his wife." And I've heard other people say that, they heard that too. That they grew up hearing.
Yeah, I heard that. But do you think that it's raining tears because the devil's beating his wife and she's crying?
I don't know. It's like sun's out, but it's raining. So devil's beating his wife. And to this day, I will see, especially here in Florida, because I'm in Florida now, not in Georgia anymore. I will see the sun is out, but it's raining, and I'll say, well, look at there, devil's beating his wife.
Well, those kinds of things we just pass down. I mean, I don't know. Now here we are. How close are we to Labor Day? It's the 19th of August.
Yeah, we're getting there. Yeah.
So what faux pas are you thinking about after Labor Day that I cannot get?
Oh yes. Yeah. Well, you can't wear white after.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, not. You can wear a winter white, but you can't. Yeah, you're not supposed to wear white. And of course, you're not supposed to wear white until after Easter.
Right.
So you got that. You got that, and that was always a thing. Although I don't think that young people today, even in the South, adhere to that as much as we did. As much as we were. You couldn't wear white shoes until a certain day.
Yeah.
Unless of course it was with your wedding dress, that was different.
Yeah.
But here's another one that my mother said, and I'll tell you, I had never heard this before until 2010. January 1st of 2010, I was at my mother's house and I was leaving the next day to come back home. So I decided that I was just going to go ahead and get my laundry done. And I start walking toward the laundry room. And my mother says, where are you going? And I said, well, I'm just going to do a load of clothes so I don't have to worry about it when I get home. To which my mother said, you can't wash clothes today. It's New Year's Day. And I said, well, what does that have to do with anything? And she said, you'll wash a member of your family away.
I've never heard that.
I had never heard it either. I have since heard it over and over and over. But I have to tell you, Jane, I'm so glad that I just said, okay, and went back to my bedroom with my dirty clothes, because that was the year my mother died. And I think that if I had been defiant and I had washed those clothes anyway, that would have absolutely haunted me. I don't care how illogical that sounds, it would have haunted me.
Oh my gosh. How about that?
Yeah.
Oh,
You have another one? You have another one?
Well, I remember, of course, we were all about the weather. And I know you understand that now that, you're Floridian is
Yes.
the low pressure system scare you. But I mean, we just live by weather reports. Daddy,
I'm sure.
to this day in my hall, I've got a magnetic hurricane map, and I've still got the track of Hugo. I mean, how many years ago was that?
Right.
34, but I've still got that thing tracking. But I remember every time a storm would come up, Mama, Tootsie, who was my other mama, they had these things that you would do. And the first thing was put on your tennis shoes. You had to have your tennis shoes on. You had to pull the bed away from the wall. Mm-hmm. Couldn't be near water, which I do think makes sense. You can't be in the bathroom. You can't be in the kitchen because it's a conduit for electricity, water.
Absolutely, yeah.
But the thing I could not understand is our poor little old kitty cat, Nene, had to be thrown out in the yard. Mama said that animals attract electricity. So here we were, you couldn't look in the mirror either. That was another thing. Now, the mirror and the kitty cat, I don't know about the bed being pulled out, but I mean, it was like battle stations. All right, there's a dark cloud.
It's coming up a bad cloud. It's coming up a bad cloud. That's what they used to always say. Oh, it's coming up a bad cloud.
And so, have you ever heard of that? That was like a must. And
I guess I get it. The tennis shoes, the rubber, right?
Rubber, yeah.
Pull the bed away from the wall, I guess, just in case you go to bed and the house is hit by electricity.
Yeah.
I don't know. But the poor cat, I just have never heard that before.
Oh, Lord, Amelia, thrown out every single time. I mean, that was like gospel, and we had to, there's just things like that we just had to. And I remember one of my friends
had to live by it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and just out of respect. In fact, I was talking to some folks that at a little country club here. I asked this very Southern woman. I said, "Tell me about some things that your mama has said to you that were meaningful." And she said, "Has said? You can't see her. She's sitting right here, and she's whispering to me right now. I never get away from the voice of my mother." And isn't that true?
It's true. Yeah, no, you don't. You really don't.
No.
And that's not always a bad thing.
No.
It's just a real thing.
It's a real thing, and I think it's a sweet thing that we can, honor them instead of just thinking that's about the crazy. And it was some unbelievably strange things. But like you said, there was something to it when your mama said that, and sadly that was the year, Yeah,
that really was. I mean, my whole life I had grown up with, Southern superstitions. So you couldn't open an umbrella in the house.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, we grew up laying on the floor watching TV, propped up, watching TV. And if you stood up and like one time I stepped over my brother to get to the kitchen, oh my gosh, you would have thought I had just committed the worst crime ever. Go back, and I had to step back over him and don't ever do that again. You're not supposed to step over somebody like that. And of course, here was the big one, and I still have issues with this. When you go into a cemetery, and we should do a whole segment on funerals and cemeteries. So when you go into a cemetery, you cannot step on a grave.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes you have to step on the grave to get to the next grave or whatever because they're buried so close together. Or there is no tombstone. There's just maybe a little headstone, and you're not really sure where the body's buried. So dancing around this little cemetery bouncing.
I know. I remember. You get into in our family Jenkins, and Mama would say, "That's your Aunt Adelaide. Don't you step on her." And then you say, okay, so you're trying so hard to be respectful of the dead.
Yeah, you got to be respectful. Yeah, we'll have to do a whole segment on that. But for now, we're done with crazy things our mamas used to say that we just never really understood. And we could probably go on and on and on about this for a long time, but we promised you we're going to keep it under 10 minutes. And
That's right.
Under
We're
10
right
minutes.
But I
Yeah.
want to challenge folks that are watching, put some comments in there and tell some funny stories from your mama too.
Oh, please do. And then say, oh, you know, talk about this or talk about that, because we just love to make you a part of all this.
That's right. Well,
All
darling,
right, until next time.
next time. Okay,